Right on cue. This is not the smartest guys in the room. And look, Dr. Tachi's in the house. Tom's in the house. Our initials up at the top. I'm using all the characters today in the clubhouse part of this. It says NTSG in the room. Right content, right platform. So that's what we're talking about today. How have you been, Tom?
I'm doing well, buddy. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. You sound good. You sound good. You look good. I am not doing good because I'm putting on weight like crazy because I've been my foot was hurt, my back was hurt. Uh I can't, my bike's in the shop. My whole life I think I've ate fried chicken and hamburgers and things like that. So without being able to run a lot or ride my bike, I can't keep it straight, Tom.
You get a pool in the backyard, man. Get some swimming in.
Okay, good theory, except I got three hernias and even swimming hurts me because you got to go like this. And every
What
stroke like
what
this.
is- what is what stroke is that?
This is my perfect breaststroke. I can do a breaststroke like nobody's business.
It looked like you were doing some kind of like wipe. Like what do we like wax on, wax off swimming? Like what are we
I,
doing, Mr. Miyagi?
that's my new stroke. That's my new stroke. So, Tom, you said today we were going to talk about messaging, right place, right time. We used to say this in pharmaceuticals, so I'm going to. We said right place, right time, right message, and then you would go on right messenger, right place, right time. So it was always like you could go into the doctor 100 times, but on a given day, the doctor came out and talked to you. A given time, the doctor came out and talked to you. So it was always. And did you have the right message that he wanted to hear, or he or she wanted to hear on that day? So it was right place, right time, right message. And then sometimes we added right messenger because sometimes somebody else would go into my territory and they'd have the same message, and the doctor would speak with them and not speak with me. So we are talking about this in forms of media and platforms and things like that. So first, how you doing, Tom? And then we can get into that. So go on.
That's good. Well, so what you're talking about there makes me think of what you guys talked about in pharmaceutical sales, and this is kind of where my brain went. With my background as an EMT, currently expired, but I've done the training, was a certified EMT in New York State. One of the things you talk about when you administer any medication, right, and that could be anything from aspirin for somebody who's suffering chest pains, you might give them a baby aspirin, to somebody who's going into anaphylaxis and you give them epinephrine. The procedure you always go through is double checking the medication, right, that you're giving. So is it the right medication for the right patient at the right dose at the right time, right? And that's kind of where my brain was at when I was thinking about this idea of, like, we've talked a lot about in here, we hear about it a lot sort of more broadly, this idea of digital omnipresence. And the way I want to try to think about it or talk about it today is this idea of the right content on the right platform for the right audience. I'm less concerned about the right time because that is a bit of a miasma of that you can fall into, trying to decipher the best time to post. I think the best time to post is now, right? Like whenever you have the content available, that's the best time to post it, right? I don't know that, there's much to be said for, well, Tuesdays at 11:30 a.m. is the best time to post on this platform, and Wednesdays at 3:46 p.m. is, whatever. Like you could go down that rabbit hole and drive yourself absolutely nuts trying to figure out the right time to post. So I'm much more focused on and much more interested in what people think about creating the right content for the right audience on the right platform, right? What is that kind of combination? How do you balance those things when you think about creating content to create digital omnipresence, to make sure that you're meeting your audience where they are? Because that's the other thing that I think people often sort of forget about, they don't think audience first, they think me first, right? Which is kind of a natural thing. You think about yourself more than you think about anybody else. Most people do anyway, right? Whether you like to admit it or not. And so we often get caught up in that loop of like, well, I want to post it here at this time, and I want to say this, and I want to, rather than thinking about what your audience wants, what they need, where they are, and creating content with that audience first mindset. So that's where I came up with the idea for today's discussion.
Well, you've been on fire, Tom. So, Debbie, Dr. Tachi, let's talk about this. Right platform, like let's say Dr. Tachi with her live streams. How does she know that it's going to work on Instagram? Why doesn't she do it on LinkedIn? Or maybe she does do it on LinkedIn. So, Dr. Tachi, where do you weigh in on this? Start us down this path.
I would be delighted to start you down the path. Good morning. Right place or right place, right platform. This is interesting because you don't know until you try. So discovering your platform or the platform where what you do works is only trial and error. And it may be a long process of trial and error. So for example, I go live in several different places simultaneously: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I don't do X anymore, but I do all of those simultaneously. What works the best for me? Generally, YouTube and Instagram are the two, but I catch stragglers, stragglers on Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, part of that is also because my strategy of where I post the most is YouTube and Instagram. And so the other ones to me are afterthoughts. So it makes sense that where I spend the most time would be where I would have the most gathering, despite the number of followers I have. I would have the most gathering there. So that's what works for me. So again, you only really know when you try and when you continue to monitor what works where. And it could be that long form works well in some places and short form works well in other places. So for me, YouTube is the long form that works well, but also I get a lot of traction when I do shorts. So it just really depends. You have to try, and it's not easy. It's not going to be quick. And to Tom's point of when you were talking before about less concerned about the time, and I think I've been saying time all this time, but less concerned about the time. You're 100% correct. But to me, what is driving the thing of the time and, oh, you have to post at this time, is that so-called gurus and experts have put that out there. Now, that's not to say there's nothing to the concept of a time when the majority of your followers are on or your community is on, and then you post something and they'll see it. That's not to say that is not valid. But what has happened is people who hire these people have now taken it and flown with it, and, oh, well, you have to do it at this time. So what happens is the people that the populace has bought into the fact of there's a right time to do it, just like they've bought into the time, the whole concept of, oh, you have to have X amount of followers. And that, I mean, all of this is centered around advertising money. It's all about money, but we've fallen for it. So again, the right time, like you said, is now. And the people who rock with you will see it. They will see it whenever you post it. And I release the mic.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely 100% right, Dr. Tachi, and you would know, with your, with your platform, with the work that you're doing to try to build this platform with smaller creators, you're absolutely right. You don't need, first of all, you don't need, millions of followers, right, in order to generate revenue from your content. But the other thing too is that all of this is predicated and built around advertising dollars, right? All of it is built around this idea that you have to time content to sort of match when people are watching to get the best eyes or the biggest number of eyes on your content so that you can drive more ad revenue through that content. Like, that's really what that's all sort of predicated on. And for the average person, especially if you're not monetizing your content, right? If you're producing content either to build a personal brand, to share your expertise, to build your business or build community around your business, your brand. If you're using content in those ways, then time becomes really, really unimportant. The people who are, as Dr. Tachi said, the people who are subscribed, the people who are who are on your team, who are fans, they're going to usually see it, because even if it doesn't show up in their feed, they'll think to themselves, oh, you know what? I haven't seen something from Dr. Tachi in a minute. Let me go see what she's been up to, right? Let me go see what she's been sharing, what she's been putting out, right? Let me go check out some of her live streams, some of her past live streams that I probably missed because I wasn't around for them, right? Like, that's what's going to happen. So I 100% agree. Like, the people who are on your team, the people who are, fans of yours, they're going to see the content regardless. So, like, really, you should be focused on building that cohort and building that community, and less worried about about your timing, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a hamster wheel, and once you start down that path of trying to post at the exact right moment on the exact right day on this particular platform, like, you're never going to get off that wheel. Everything is just going to be chasing that ideal, and you're never going to get there. So yeah, that's what I think. Get off that treadmill, get off that hamster wheel, stop chasing the unattainable.
Good stuff. Hey, Dr. Tachi, when you are posting and things like that, would you say is it to build community? What do you think the main reason? You're build awareness, build community, funnel people to a certain place? What's the end game?
It's different for everyone. Are you speaking about me specifically?
Yeah, I mean, and there could be multiple reasons. Like Tom said, build personal brand. I was just wondering, because I see your YouTube blowing up and stuff like that. So I was wondering, is there like a core thing that you're usually going for?
Okay, yes. So honestly, you already know about the platform that I'm building. For me, the more exposure I get also means more exposure for creators on the platform. That's my thing. It's for, eventually, of course, I want to be able to monetize well, etc., and building community through what I do, and then channeling that community through the things that I do to the other things, which is exposure for the other people. So that's really two of the reasons why I do what I do.
Okay, good stuff. And I'm watching your content, and even when Dr. Chachi isn't going to film her Mediascope show, she'll say, "Hey, I'm not filming today because I got this going on." And even to me, that's fun. Like, I'm intrigued by her telling me she's not doing her regular post that day. So I'm following it and seeing, wow, there's value. I'm hooked just to see what's up. So you're doing a good job. Go on, Tom.
I was just going to say, and I just want to mention, we've mentioned Dr. Tachi's platform a couple of times. I just want to shout it out. It's Indie Soup Media, right? So you can check them out on YouTube. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. They're available on some other platforms too. Dr. Tachi, if you want to hop on and just tell everybody where they can find Indie Soup, but I just wanted to take a second to shout out the platform that you're building.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. So yes, it's called Indie Soup Media. So Indie is INDIE, and then Soup, SOUP, like the soup that you eat. And we are the heart of the independent content creator. We're really looking for smaller creators who want to get together and do something big so that we can all benefit. And you can find us on YouTube, on Facebook Live, on Twitch, and some more platforms are coming. You could also watch through the website indiesoupmedia.tv, and we broadcast from about 4 p.m. to about 9 Monday through Thursday, and then 5 to 10 on Fridays.
Awesome. Thanks, Dr. Tachi. And yeah, and we, not the smartest guys in the room, will be coming to Indie Soup Media in the future. So that's something else. We're gonna try to help you create a little bit more content there, and add to your schedule. Hopefully, people continue to find value in it, and other folks get a chance to check out what we do here every week with you guys. where you share your expertise and your knowledge and your experience with us. So really appreciate it, Dr. Tachi. Dom, what say you? I know I cut you off there. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure we got that in to acknowledge Dr. Tachi and the platform she's building. So I know I cut you off. Where were you headed?
Well, no, I'm a fan of Indie Soup. We will be on. Hopefully we don't get canceled, Tom. We're going to need you to step up your game. This average Tom, this cranky Tom, catsuit Tom, people aren't going to like that over there. John Jay, if we're on Indie Soup and Tom rolls it up in the catsuit, would people like that?
It's a winner. I'm telling you. Winner, chicken dinner.
Oh, Dr. Tachi says catsuit good. I started using Opus Clips. And I'm trying to find the episode where we first started talking about the cat suit so I could play it and see Tom's face all cranky over there. But I haven't found it yet. So if anybody ever wants to give me a date of this is a time where we talked about Tom's attire for running and triathlon. Somebody said it looked like a cat suit. I don't know who. Tom took offense. And now...
Somebody, I think their name rhymes with Dominick Domasky, maybe. But yeah, and also again, to clarify, I wear it for racing triathlon. It's a tri-suit that's what it's designed for. I don't just like hang out on the weekends in a skin tight suit, just going to the store. Like that's not what's happening. I don't run in it regularly. I run in shorts and a shirt, right? It's specifically for racing. But one time I made a video. I did a vlog with me wearing my tri suit, with wearing my tri kit, and actually twice, I think. Once was after a race, once was when I was training for a race. And yeah, Dom just hopped right on that. And I don't know where he got catsuit from. I don't know why he calls it that. It doesn't make any sense. There's no cats involved. But it is what it is.
Hey, okay, I don't know. Hey, in the comments, Dr. Tachi calls it unitard. So like a leotard. Interesting. Okay, so this is not...
That feels slightly offensive in a couple of ways. No. I mean, technically, probably she's right. I guess maybe kind of. I don't know. It's like it's sort of like a. Here's what I would say in the athletic world. Here's what it's kind of similar to, right? Is it's kind of similar to like a wrestling singlet, like a short sleeve wrestling singlet, like that you'll see wrestlers wear in competition and matches, like a short sleeve wrestling singlet. Like that's what it's similar to.
I almost don't want to tell Tom what Dr. Tachi said next. She says,
yeah, I know. I see it. I see it.
Okay, so we will go on here. Not the smartest guys in the room. Right content, right platform. Okay, so one of the things, I'm hypersensitive to this. So when Tom brought it up today, I was like, yep, I'm in. So for instance, and I maybe I don't know, but I only look at it how I consume on platforms. So if somebody writes 5 paragraphs on Instagram, I'm not reading it. Sorry. If somebody gives me a 6-minute video on TikTok, I'm not watching it. My expectation when I'm scrolling through pictures on Instagram, maybe shorts. If somebody gives me on TikTok, I'm looking at 20-second videos, 30 seconds, a minute tops. If somebody gives me 6 minutes, I'm like, wait a minute. I thought the cutoff was a minute. Now I know things change and they're trying to get into different content. Like for instance, YouTube going from long form to now pushing shorts. So now maybe expectations change over time, but that's how I'm looking at the platform. So Debbie, John, what's up? Kevin, Billy, how you doing? Debbie, when you are putting content out, is there a right message for the right platform? Do you have thoughts to that? How are you using it effectively? Go on.
Good morning, everyone. That's a great question, and I'm really kind of taking it all in what everybody's saying. I'm still trying to find that niche and that the right content and for the right audience. I'm a lot of hit and miss. Try to work from like motivating type posts to educational type posts. I'm just trying different things to see what's resonating. Um, Last week I had 3 shorts, and I hadn't really explored shorts too much on YouTube, and they blew up. And so I'm looking at that to see really again what's resonating and how I can continue to build my brand and get people to see who I am and to be able to relate to me as well. So I'm still a hit and miss, but I keep trying, and some days are good and some days keep trying. Back to the drawing board. So I land my plane.
Okay, good stuff, Debbie. I'm going to lean on John Jay for this because you know John well. We're all friends, straight shooter. John Jay, when Debbie's talking about domestic abuse awareness and things like that, and I see how you're able to use information for the Boys in Blue, for our military, and things like that. Do you think she could be doing something different, or are there other tools?
Biggest thing with I stress. So my show is, and I make significant money every month off of Facebook. X, other ones, LinkedIn generates a lot of traffic. Next door is generating a ton of traffic, even more than LinkedIn. I'm shocked. But I check to see which one works. So the one thing I would say is, and this is the biggest piece of advice I have to give to people, and most people do not follow. Stop trying to sell your content on social media. Instead, focus on building a community of those most likely to purchase your content. And the best way to do that is by creating engageable posts that get the most traction, the most reach. For example, I use a strategy right now on my Facebook page. And when I post to Facebook, it goes to Instagram. And then Pinterest, you can set up a Pinterest business page and automatically ingest all of your Instagram content. So by one place, you can post 3 different areas. So what I do is I do 4 posts that are engagement only, designed to attract a certain audience, and then I post an episode of my show or something with an outside link. But if everything you do on social media is, hey, look out this, hey, buy this, or I talk about this, or I'm an expert on that, you're missing a boat and you're probably not getting much response. When you put up a photo, for example, I'm using this as a bad example. There's a reason why cute kitten videos are crushing it and have crushed it for decades. People respond to that. If you post photos of cute kittens every now and then, you're going to do much better than if you constantly post about you and your product, your services. That's a bad example, but that's the best example I can come up with right away. So your niche may not be cute kittens, but so for my show, I target people 30 to 60 in the United States, Canada, England, and Ireland. And I have areas of interest that they're most interested in. Crime shows, true crime shows, trauma shows, all that stuff. And I try to post content that's going to most appeal to that audience. And that ones that they do, the ones that really appeal, they get the most shares, the most reach, the most comments, and the most people that see my content. And they grow my page for me. And right now, we just crossed 61,000 followers on Facebook. So again, I would say focus on creating a community you want. About 4-to-1 ratio of posts of what's going to create engagement for them, build the community, and then a post about you, your product, your services.
John, excellent stuff. When you talk about the cute cat, cute puppy, cute anything, it's so clear. That's why businesses have mascots and cute little mascots and Grimace at McDonald's and the big boy at LB, all these cute things that are, well, it's different. An insurance company doing something different, the Geico, that little lizard. Imagine that. An insurance company marketing using a little lizard. Complete opposite of what they do, but people stop and look at the lizard. So, Tom, this is the one I wanted to point out to you. And have you ever seen that Cologuard box? It's the little box with legs and it has a smile on it. Here is the company is they want you to put your defecation in a box and send it to them. And I mean, it's the grossest thing in the world, but they are able to give you this cute little box with legs on it that walks around and smiles and things like that. And it makes you think, because I listen to this whole commercial because I like this box running around. So Cologuard has done a masterful job replacing that cute little kitten with a box with legs and a smile on it. So what say you, Tom?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think the Cologuard marketing is well done. I don't know why. I just had, if you remember, there was an SNL sketch with Justin Timberlake and Adam Sandberg that involved a box. And in my head, I just changed the words to I took a poop in a box. So you're welcome for having that rattling around in your head for the rest of the day. Those of us, for those folks that remember that sketch well. Anyway, yeah, I think their marketing is on point. I think getting back to what John Jay was talking about, from my perspective, like this is one place where John Jay and I, and we butt heads in here. Like we agree to disagree on a bunch of different things and how we approach stuff. We do things differently, which is, which is fine and well and good. And I welcome when John challenges me on things in here. This is one place where John and I see very much eye to eye. Is do not focus your content on trying to sell your products and services, right? Like the mainstay of your content should not be focused on sales. It should be focused on delivering for your audience. Delivering, specifically, the way I would put it is you should be focused on, as the primary goal of your content, to deliver value to your audience. And if you are successful in delivering value to your audience, they will pay attention to it. They will look at it. They will click on it. They will subscribe and follow it. All of those things will happen if you do one thing right, and that's create value and deliver value to them. So I think this is one place where John and I 100% agree. Audience first. Stop trying to sell in every post. It's a mistake. It doesn't work. People resent you for it, and it actually, in the long term, will do more harm than good. Right. So don't fall into that trap of trying to sell. It's one of the reasons why I push back on that notion that every post has to have a call to action. Right. Every post can have an invitation, but that's a different thing. Right. That's not a call to action. An invitation is very different. Right. Being invited to someone's house for dinner is very different from being told that if you don't go to someone's house for dinner, that you're a loser. Right. Like that's the difference. Right. Don't fall into that trap of telling people over and over again, hey, if you don't show up here, like you're the loser, you're on the wrong side of things. Right. Like, which is what you're doing with those call to actions in everything you post, is ultimately you end up doing that. And the person goes, you know what? You think I'm such a loser? Cool. I'm a loser. Like I'm done with you. Right. So yeah, I think don't fall into that trap. Make sure that you are delivering value. And if you're putting something in the end of every post, make it an invitation, right? Make it something that people are free to follow or subscribe to, if they choose, and only if they found value in what you're providing them. So that's my thoughts on it. But I think John and I largely, we say it differently in this particular case, but I think we largely agree on this one. You got to put your audience first. Stop trying to sell in everything you do.
I agree with both of you, and I would look at like for people that are using it for marketing and things like that. I would lead with value at all times, but they could do like a 10-1, 80-20, something like that, still value based on time 10. Let's say Tom wrote the book Legendeering. On time 8 out of 10, he should remind me that I have this great book that you could get value from here. In chapter 2, I talk about this. In chapter 5, I talk about this. Read more about it here. This subject is interesting. Read more about it here. That might be, so he's still giving value. He's giving them place. Now you can choose or not to buy that, but lead with value. But I struggle as a publisher of books when an author, and you've heard me say this in here before, they've never given any value. They're not on social media. They're not out in their community. And now it's buy my book. Book's coming out. Make me number one. Come to my signing. Talk about being all about you. Why would I come to your signing? You've never given me any value. You don't post. You're not consistent. And now you want me to give you money and come to your signing? Drives me nuts. So sometimes they say when you're writing a book, when should you start marketing it? Right now, 6 months before, a year before, the second you think about writing a book, all those times, that's when you should start writing it. All right, let's go here. Not the smartest guys in the room. We got Kevin, Billy, and Jimmy Aj down in what do you call that? In the lobby there. We're on LinkedIn. We're streaming a couple other places. Where are we streaming, Tom?
Yeah, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch. We are not on Twitter, aka X, anymore because I'm with Dr. Tachi. Now they want you to pay to be able to stream on their platform, and I'm not paying X for anything. Like, sorry, not going to happen. That platform has obviously, fallen on its face in the last year anyway. And I don't think it's getting up. So I don't see the value in it. Also, not for nothing, but like if you go on there, it's a bit of a cesspool, and I don't really want those people. I'm not excited for that audience to be a part of our community. So we're not on Twitter or X anymore. But yeah, we are on Facebook, we are on LinkedIn, we are on YouTube. And hopefully soon to be, as soon as I can get my act together and find some time to create some graphics and do some technical stuff to package this up properly for Indie Soup, we will also be on Indie Soup streaming reruns there. So yeah, that's where you can find us. You can find us all over the place. All you got to do is search. All you got to do is look. You'll find us. Promise.
We appreciate you. Thank you. Hey, I want to go back to Debbie on this thought of this content output and see what the room thinks of this, and not in a negative light. So being that domestic abuse is so prominent in the United States or in the world, I wonder, Debbie, and I wish Johnny was still here because Johnny used to do a lot of screenshotting of images like new Marvel movie out, and then he would give his thoughts on Marvel movie. So I'm wondering if, Debbie, you could make some commentary on popular news or trending news articles and things like that in a sense of John, you understand, like kind of like John Jay does, like if there's something current going on in the media that relates to what his show is about, he might talk about it. And I think, Debbie, there could be opportunity for that where you could be the voice of healing, the voice of you could walk away, the voice of strength for people that are looking at this type of content. So, John, you want to jump in on that? Am I making sense?
You are making sense, and that goes back to the thing. That goes back to what we talked about earlier. So what I do is I do a lot of public domain stuff. So police departments post photos on our website. You can use that. If civilians involved, that blurred out, and I use a very short headline. And some of those I did one yesterday about meet this young female officer, and it crushed it. It did really, really well. but it took me no time, and I can use the image. What I found is screenshotting news articles and then giving reference to them. Actually, Facebook crushed my reach because it didn't appear to be as original. So what I would say for in Debbie's case is find stories that are in your niche or adjacent to your niche that you can use and make them short. Like Dominic made a great point. People, and I don't have the study in front of me, but if it's too long on social media, 95% of people won't read it. And even if you put in there, by the way, this is a long read, some of that works, but keep it to 3 or 4 lines total, one paragraph, where they don't have to fold. People are incredibly lazy. They don't have to click on and read more. So what you want to do is build an instant response, instant engagement. Either they're angry about it, they're happy about it, or they're sad about it. Those 3 things right there will change it. And what you do is look for content that is either in your niche or adjacent to your niche. And they could be success stories, they could be whatever it is, and start building the following. That way you have a bigger funnel of people that are more interested in what you have. You're creating the attraction factor right away instead of promotion. Does that, I know it's kind of vague, but does that make sense?
No, it does make a lot of sense, and thank you for the feedback. That you give me some ideas, so thank you, appreciate it.
Excellent. And Debbie, to John's point in what we've been talking about, I wouldn't do it every time. I'd still do what you're doing, but add this kind of strategy into 20%, 10%. Okay, once a day I'm going to post this kind of content too. And so you're doing Debbie, and now you're also sharing this other kind of content too. Tom, you had something to say? Go on.
Well, I was curious to hear what Dr. Tachi thought about kind of the broader concept of the repost, right? Of like taking content and resharing it with your audience, whether that's, a news article or something like that, sort of taking that content and resharing it with your audience. What's do you, Dr. Tachi, do you see value in that? And if so, how do you think people should go about approaching it?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, let me, because I just came back. You're talking about taking something else from another source, from somebody else, and resharing it to your audience. Is that correct?
Yeah, like, a pertinent news article, a pertinent piece or essay written by somebody that applies to your audience or speaks to, your field of expertise. What's the value in kind of doing the reshare of other people's content with your audience?
Oh, there's so much value. I love doing that, especially sharing articles. Since I am a journalist, that's my thing. I always share articles. However, I don't do it without adding my own commentary, because I think there's more value in sharing someone else's words, but also sharing what I felt about it and why I'm sharing it. So, if it's, for example, I always share, like, if somebody in the media world, if they pass away or whatever, I always make sure I share that. If there's something special I have to say about them, like I met them, then I will do that. But other than that, like things that have to do, for example, with media or live streaming or whatever, I'll share the article, definitely put the link there. But then I also have some words of what I think about it. So I'm adding that third voice to it.
That's great. Thanks, Dr. Tachi. And I think to John's point, that's a good way to think about it when you're talking about, creating kind of a hook or something that's going to get your audience to actually read the article, or actually, look at what you're sharing. Maybe it's watch a video, maybe it's read an article, whatever the case may be, is right up top, share your thoughts. Like, this article, made me hopeful because blah, 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 blah. I wanted to share it because of X, Y, and Z, right? Like, share right off the top why you're, tell your audience right off the top why you're sharing this piece of content. I think that can really help them have perspective as to why they should read it, right? Like, so if they know why you shared it, they're more likely to read it, I think, than if they don't. So I think that's a great point, Dr. Tachi. Thanks for sharing that. What do you think, Dom?
Well, this point is so prevalent right now. The Olympics just happened. So I try to share inspiration, motivation, positivity every day. So people work their whole life to compete in the Olympics. They get this moment every 4 years, and some are from small countries. Some have overcome great odds. Some have the best race of their life on the biggest day. All these can be very motivational stories. So for me, for 2 weeks, it was like, wow, the content that I was able to share using something that's trending, something people are talking about, and then like Dr. Tachi, putting your own spin on it. Like I listened to her talk about Deadpool, or I guarantee like Taylor Swift's coming back to the United States right now. Dr. Tachi, do a video about Taylor Swift ending her tour and coming back to the United States. And it's current, and I guarantee people will turn to this thing, and she puts her own spin. So I love this idea. Always with your own spin. Take the like mind, put your own spin on it, and it is the easiest, the lowest level. We love low lifts on Not the Smartest Guy in the Room. Sharing like-minded content and putting your own spin on it is absolutely the lowest lift and the easiest way to put out content, consistent content. So go on, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing I would add to that is if you're not sharing a link to an article, right, or you're sharing a screenshot of an article, right, with maybe a link in the comments or something, just to kind of work your way around the algorithm, so you're not sharing an external link in your post to, which obviously hurts whether or not that post is promoted. I would say make sure that if you're not sharing a link, if it's not directly connected with that outside content producer's article or whatever you're referencing, make sure you give attribution. Right, we're big fans of that. Like, make sure you give attribution, give credit where credit is due. Don't take credit for other people's work, even if you're doing it inadvertently. It's something to be careful about. And as creators, I think we're happy for other people to share our content, share our thoughts, share us with their audiences, so long as they provide attribution. And attribution is a huge thing in the world of journalism, and I think there are a lot of creators that could stand to learn a few things about correct attribution. But yeah, and I think to your point too, Dom, work smarter, not harder, right? Don't lift 100 pounds if you can lift 10 and accomplish the same result, right? So like, if somebody else has done a bunch of the heavy lifting for you, reshare their content, reshare their article, reshare their post with your community, and leverage that. Just make sure you give attribution. But yeah, Carrie, welcome to the stage here. We've been talking about sort of creating the right content on the right platform for the right audience, and how you go about sort of accomplishing those things. So that's the topic of the day, thinking about sort of digital omnipresence, creating the right content on the right platform for the right audience. And we've just most recently been talking about sharing other people's content and resharing other people's content to your audience if it provides value to them, with your thoughts. And we've been talking about that being an example of, as they would say in Boston, working smarter, not harder. So what do you think, Carrie? Are you a fan of that method?
Working smarter than harder. Yeah, I'm all for it. Yeah, I think absolutely. I like what Dom said about resharing the Olympics and some motivational stuff. I did the same. I reposted a podcast that I did with Kelly Gunther, who was an Olympian and the ultimate comeback kid. And I felt like it was kind of lost 4 years ago. And when I reposted it during the Summer Olympics, so many people listened to it, and it was such a fabulous story. So that made me really happy. So I think you can repost if it's relevant and it lands. So sometimes you might have some really amazing content, but people are just too busy and it doesn't work at that time. So I have a lot of thoughts on that. Like, is the summer slower? Don't put it on a holiday week. You got to watch all the trends. I don't know that they're always true though. So always with the hook, with the lead, how are you grabbing the audience? The images have to be good. The wording has to equate as well. So that's my take.
Nice. Thanks, Carrie. Appreciate it. Dom, I think, sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to point out something that Carrie said that we hadn't talked about today, that she was also saying sometimes you post something, it might not have been the right time for whatever reason. Because we always say now, we're going to do it now. We're not going to wait till tomorrow. We're not going to wait a week from now. But that doesn't mean you can't use the same piece of content again and post. It could become current again. I had a business partner when I first started that was a master of algorithms, and he had a country band one time that opened for like Blake Shelton or something. And this was like a small country band that opened for him, like in the middle of nowhere. So all of a sudden, forever, every time he worked with this small country band, and every time they did anything, anytime Blake Shelton did anything, he would start sharing stuff about this country band and hashtag Blake Shelton and all kinds of stuff like that. And he was able to use a new date, the connection that they opened for him, and now maybe get some more eyes on his stuff. So to Carrie's point, you can share your content again. All right, Tom, go on.
Well, I was just going to say, like, it wasn't, I don't think it's so much a question of it wasn't the right time to share it the first time. It's just that it's never wrong to reshare, right? Like, and I did that last week. Right. I reshared a post that it's been a few months since I posted. I shared a text post, and the first line of the text that went with that post, of the sort of description of that post, of the caption, the first line was, "I'm going to beat the skin off of this drum," right? Like, lead with value always, right? Which I say all the time. Everybody that knows me has heard me say that hundreds of times over the last few years, right? But I'm going to beat the hide off that drum, right? Like, lead with value always. I will reshare that post again. I guarantee it, right? It's not ever wrong to reshare, because it may not be new to everyone, but it's going to be new to someone. And it may be new to a bunch of people. So don't be afraid to reshare things. I think that's an excellent point. And now I think, Dom, we're actually a couple of minutes late. We should jump to show and tell. What do you think?
All right, a proper show. Now that you've given me a proper introduction for show and tell, I have something to share. So yes, Monday, Tuesday, I'll be sappy. My friend Jimmy knows we were up at his cabin this weekend. We took our sons up because his son and my son were both going to college this week. They both started college. So today, as a sappy dad, I dropped my son off at Temple in Philadelphia. I have to admit, after all these years, I'm 6 foot tall. My son is taller than me. He's bigger than me too, even though I weigh more. He's just like bigger and like looks bigger. So here today, I will just show an old picture of when he played for the Greensburg Landscape Yankees, which is my dad was the sponsor at the time. So there's my little son years ago, and now he's 18, big and on his own. So as a parent, you try to do your best, keep them safe, and then prepare them to be productive members of society on their own. And I think he's ready for that. So that is my sappy message today. I'm sharing. I'm happy to see a picture of my son in my office here, and wish him the best on whatever he does next.
That's a cute picture. I'm a little confused about how a little league team in outside of Pittsburgh ended up with the Yankees logo. They're obviously you would think that they would be emulating maybe some more local teams, or at least some Pennsylvania teams. Like, I could see like a Phillies or a Pirates or whatever, but like, yeah, Yankees is surprising. But
this shows all that you have to learn, because there's different teams in the league, Tom. So if there's 12 teams, One would be the Yankees, one would be the Pirates, the Phillies, the Astros, and everybody wants to end up on the Yankees. So go on.
Nice. But I appreciate that too. Like, it's we're kind of at opposite ends of our time as parents, right? Like you're sending just dropped Cam off at college, and Maddie's not far behind, and here I am with Isla, who's 6 weeks old today. So we're kind of at opposite ends of our journey as parents, but it's interesting for me to see how that journey has gone for you and what your sort of thoughts are on the other side of it. So I appreciate that, and I'm sure that Cam will do great things at Temple. So he'll have plenty of fun, because college should also be fun, but also do a good job in his studies. So yeah, and hey, look, there's something to be said. I think you want to talk about sharing motivation, inspiration, and positivity. Maybe sharing something about dropping your firstborn off of college is a good place to go with that. Something a little personal, something that other people can relate to, other parents who are either have gone through that or will go through that or are currently going through that, will definitely relate to what you're going through. So yeah, just a thought there. Maybe some inspiration for a piece of content you can share around dropping Cam off.
Okay, that's a good one, Tom. So before we get to wrap up, we need each of you. Here's the thought. Tom gave his first a content sharing tip from everybody up on the stage, something that works for you. So, and we are willing to try something that's working for you. So, Carrie Brett, when you're sharing something that works for you, that you don't mind giving to your friends here over at Not the Smartest Guys, what do you got?
I'll say this, and I say this to a lot of people. It's really hard sharing for me. It's hard sharing personal things about my life. But when I do, those always do really well. And I'm so surprised how well they do. I was just thinking about, dropping your child off and what that was like and how difficult. It changes you forever. And I think it's even harder for a single parent because I was the only game in town. So it was really hard for me when my daughter went to school. But those moments really land on social media. So I would encourage people to do that.
Thank you, Carrie. John Jay, our resident expert. What do you got, my friend?
Yeah, I don't know about expert. Everything, the landscape's always changes. So I look at social media totally different than I do search. I look at it totally different than I do podcast directory, and it's about building a community. So understanding the verbiage, when we talked quite a bit about share, one thing I don't do is I don't share other people's content because it benefits them and it hurts me. What I will do is I'll repost it organically and give attribution to them. Usually not the link, usually with a tag, their Facebook page and their name. That does not hurt my reach. So when you do that, just remember, figure out what works and look at your analytics. Don't go crazy about it, but see what's working and what's not. I know this sounds like complicated, crazy science. It's not. Do more of what works and less of what doesn't. And what works today may not work 3 months from now. So don't be afraid to post organically. Do it frequently. And I'll close on this last thing. I don't really believe in going viral. However, if you post 0, you got 0 chance of going viral. If you post a little bit, you got a little chance of going viral. If you got to post a lot, you got more chance. So if you're not telling people about you, you're not creating attractiveness to you, your product, your services, you're going to have a tough uphill climb. That's not all of it, but that for social media is the way I look at it. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Good job. And Debbie, who said she just went viral with a couple things the other day. Debbie, what tips you got for us?
keep trying, keep testing the waters. I agree. Lead with value, and periodically share who you are so people can see that you relate to them. So those are my tips.
Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate you being here. We appreciate all you being here. Okay, Dr. Tachi, what do you got?
This damn mic. I'm sorry. It won't unstick for me. Share what matters to you. So obviously you want to add value, but for some reason, people seem to be following you or part of your community because they care about you. So share what matters to you. One thing that I generally do almost every week, so I always do a dance Friday. So I'll share some sort of dance videos because I'm a dancer choreographer. So that's something that matters to me. And I'll put that out there with something like, inspiring or funny or whatever. And then on Sundays, I'll do a Meanwhile Somewhere in Africa, which is showing different places in Africa, dispelling the myths of what the continent is like. So it will be like maybe Zanzibar in Tanzania. It will be Cabo Verde, so that people see the beauty in Africa. So share what matters to you.
Thank you, Dr. Tachi. I'm going to follow Dr. Tachi with that same kind of thing, and then we'll lead to Tom here. For me, it's point of view, the world through your eyes. The audience, your friends, your followers, people that like that pretty beach Dr. Tachi was on that one day, or Boston, where Carrie's at. I've rarely been there or never been there. Please show me the world through your eyes. Your followers, your family, your friends, they want to see the world through your eyes. So every once in a while, turn that camera around and show them what you're looking at. Show them your workstation. Show them where you're going that day. Show them, let them in on your world. So the world through your eyes. That's what I got. On to you, Tom.
All right. Thanks, Tom. I was waiting to hear you say, that's it. I've talked too much. I'm done. I'm tired of hearing myself. What else did I miss? What else do you usually say?
I'm boring myself. I'm sick of hearing my own voice. I've got nothing left. I'm tired. Tom, put a bow, and I say put a bow on it.
There you go.
On.
There you go. There you go. That's what I was waiting for. All the self-deprecation and then put a bow on it. All right. So here we go, guys. Here's where I think we end up, and here's where my head's at when I think about creating the right content on the right platform for the right audience. What I really think of is, or the direction that this points me in, is thinking about your audience first and foremost. And I think as you guys were talking about creating something that gives, Dom, you were just saying, gives your audience a chance to kind of see the world through your eyes, right? To share things that are important to you, to share personal anecdotes that Carrie was saying earlier that always surprises her how well those things do. I think it's really important to remember that your audience is looking to you for several things, right? They're looking to you to continue providing the value that you've provided them in the past, right? But they're also looking for opportunities to connect with you on a human level, right? So when it comes to creating the right content on the right platform at the right, for the right audience at the right time, right? I think the right time is whenever the content is available for you to share it, right? Don't hold on to it. Don't wait. The right audience is the audience that you have built, the community you've built around your brand, right? And the audience that you want to talk to, the people you want to be part of the community around your brand. The right platform is any platform where that audience is, right? And the right content is the content that does two things. One, provides value to them, and two, creates the opportunity for them to develop real human connections with you, to create real, long-lasting, meaningful relationships with you as the content creator. That's what I think. And that's what we were trying to get at today with this topic. So Dom, thanks for humoring me with this idea today. I appreciate it. Appreciate being here every week with you, as always. To everybody who's here, we appreciate you guys. You guys are the reason why we do this show, why we're here every week, because we are not the smartest guys in the room. You are. So thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for making this possible. To everybody watching and listening across the internet, we love all of you, and we welcome you to all be a part of this community. So thanks again. We appreciate you. We love you. We'll see you next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, right here at Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. Until then, have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. Love you guys. Bye-bye.